6.2 Biomechanics Technical Model. Technical model is a way to improve an athlete's performance. It is made in order to help the athlete achieve the perfect technique by looking and comparing what the skill should look like if performed correctly, and how they look when completing the skill. In order for a technical model to be produced, the skill must have at least 4 to 5 coaching points, meaning that the skill has to be broken down into key elements. The technical model is meant to be the perfect model of what the skill should look like, including the duration, preparation, and recovery of the skill. When comparing the athlete's skill to the perfect model, they describe the performance based on the technique. When using the technical model, the athlete is based qualitatively, meaning that they look at the quality of the skill and use words to explain how to improve. The technical model helps to break down a skill into different sections to achieve the perfect technique. The skill is generally broken down into 3 main stages, including the preparation phase, execution phase, and recovery phase. The preparation phase is looking at what the performer does before they perform the skill. Execution is when they are completing the skill, and lastly, recovery is what they do when coming out of the skill or after it. For example, in a dive start of a 50-meter freestyle, the preparation phase would be the athlete getting onto the blocks and entering the crouch position with their toes over the edge and 1 foot further back on the block. The mechanical model can help to show the athlete as much as what angle his back and front knee should be in order for them to get the maximum power and streamline of the dive. The execution phase is likely to be anything onwards from the execution phase is likely to be anything from the whistle, meaning go, onwards, as this is where the athlete performs the skill by transferring their weight. This would include the athletes push off the blocks and brings their arms forward over their heads in order to get into the diving position, and also bringing their legs together. The technical model can help the performer compare themselves to a perfect technique. Lots of athletes use computer programs to help them perform their perfect technique. The programs can help to get the correct shape when in the air and can help you find the fastest way to swing your arms out. Lastly is the recovery. This is when the athlete enters the water. The shape the athlete was in the air will determine how deep the athlete is and which can affect their recovery. The athlete wants to be under the water for a relatively long time, as you move faster under the water than you do on top. But you don't want to be underwater so long as it will tire you out due to the lack of oxygen. So the execution of the skill determines how long you should stay under the water, meaning that it is vital to get the correct position while in the air. The technical model can help to find the perfect technique for the performer. Breaking down a skill can also make it easier for the performer to improve their skill. This is because they can give coaching points on a particular phase of the skill and working on correcting that, and then moving on to the next correction in a different phase. By splitting the coaching points into different phases, it can help the athlete concentrate on each section clearly, as it doesn't overload them with corrections. This is also very good for beginners, as you can help to break it down into different stages. For example, if the diver needed to work on the angle of their legs at the start, the movement of their arms during the dive, and the position of their head during their recovery of the dive, it may become overwhelming to an athlete to think about all of the corrections at the same time, whereas working on each correction individually may help the athlete cope more, and can also lead to more fine-tuning of the skill. These corrections can help the athlete work towards the perfect technique. Technical models can be constructed by using various different sources with various different credibility. First is literature-based, which can be anything from an article posted online or from the coach's national governing body. Most coaches are taught what the perfect technique is, and therefore are taught what the coaching points for certain skills are likely to be. The national governing body is high in credibility because it's used all around the world, and many coaches and performers trust it, whereas a blog on YouTube or posted on the internet may have less credibility as we don't know where they got their information from, and therefore we don't know whether it actually leads to the perfect technique. Next is elite level athlete based, which is when you take videos or photos of a successful athlete and use those to make coaching points to then use to teach and improve the athlete's performance. The elite level based can also be used as well as literature based. This is known as a combination based. This allows the athlete to use multiple sources of information to combine them with their technical model and get the perceived perfect technique. Lastly is subjective, where the athlete or coach makes a technical model from something that is not seen as perfect technique but works well. An example of this is John McEnroe, as his serve technique is seen wrong as he faces his back to the net and stands basically on the baseline. However, his serves are of a high quality and score well. The technical model is used for athletes of all levels. Beginners can use it to break down a skill into larger parts, and then moderate athletes can use the technical model to break the larger points down into smaller parts. Elite athletes may find technical models very helpful when they make persistent errors. The technical model can help you to work through the skill backwards to find biomechanically where the athlete is going wrong. For example, if a swimmer twists when diving at the start of the race, the technical model can be used to pick out where the swimmer is going wrong. In this case, the swimmer may be pushing from the front leg too much, causing them to rotate. The coach can then identify that they need to focus on the first coaching point, which would be pushing from the blocks. When a coach is looking to see where the athlete is going wrong, or to produce a new technical model, they may use one of the following strategies. There are many ways in which a coach can help the athlete improve. They can watch the performer live, video their performance, or they can use computer-generated programs. The computer-generated programs are useful in finding more detailed reasons as to why the athlete keeps making a persistent error. These programs include Coach's Eye software, SlowPro, or Dartfish. The SlowPro program allows the athletes to slow down a skill so that they can watch it and pick out each little mistake that the athlete can work on. Coach's Eye takes a video of the performer and allows the coach to pause the video whenever and draw an image. This software allows the coach to visually show the athlete the angles that they need to compare their golf swing, for example, with an elite athlete's golf swing. Lastly, Dartfish is similar to Coach's Eye as it allows you to record a video of the athlete, then slow it down and draw on it. It also allows you to take pictures during the video to work out the angles. This is really helpful for players as they can visualize what they need to improve. Dartfish can also allow the coach to attach notes to a certain part of the video so that when they come back to it, they can see what they need to improve from what they worked on last session. Another way to help the performer with their technique is watching them live and giving them verbal or physical feedback. This could include them saying little things like to straighten their knees, or they can go up to the performer and physically move them in order to show them how to perform the skill, so that they learn the muscle memory of how to properly perform the skill. Lastly is videoing the performer and watching over their technique or gameplay. The video footage can be uploaded onto an online software such as Dartfish, stated earlier. We are looking at a jump shot in basketball for a technical model. It is a basic shooting technique in which a player throws the ball towards the basket from a straight vertical jump. The jump shot is done with one hand, where the second hand holds the ball in place until the shot is taken. The jump can be made from movement, for example while dribbling, as well as from a standing position. Key components of the jump shot include catching and throwing while standing and in motion, standing shot, offensive strength, great throwing and jumping power, and good coordination. In the preparation phase, you have to be well balanced, and have a coordinating balance and shot. Before receiving the ball, you must have bent knees and must be evenly balanced. Feet should be shoulder width apart, and one hand should face the ball ready for catching while the other faces inside the body ready for shooting. Once you receive the ball, square up to the hoop. If shooting from the side of the basket, aim for the top corners of the backboard. If facing forward, aim for the middle of the bottom line on the backboard. Your feet positioning determines your body position, and therefore the direction of your shot. You also have one finger, which is your last finger to touch the ball. It helps if this finger touches the thumb to your cheek. You also want your arm and wrist to make a C shape. Any less or more is too much or too little. Before the shot, do not further bend the C shape, but just extend from the elbow. During the execution phase, first, a straight vertical jump is executed. Shortly before reaching the highest point of the jump, the actual throwing motion is initiated. The ball should not leave the throwing hand until the apex, which is the highest part of your jump. The jump should be light and vertical, and you should land in the same spot that you took off from. Do not place the ball behind your head, but instead lift the ball in line with your body and just above your head. The shot should have a curve with a starting angle of 50 to 60 degrees. Make sure that you fully extend your arm, and also make sure you're extending the arm high and not away from your face at about 10 to 11 o'clock. You want to try and flick your wrist down to get maximum spin on the ball, and make sure the movement is quick and powerful, as slower movements mean less power. Once the ball has been released, the shoulders should be down and the arm should be at a 45-degree angle. This is the recovery stage. So this is my performer Demi. During the preparation stage, the performer has a limited amount of time to prepare themselves for the shot. They need to face the basket with their feet shoulder width apart in order to increase their balance and stability. You can see from the performance on the left showing this. However, Demi's feet are zipped together, decreasing her stability and therefore the shot's performance. Demi is also relying on both hands gripping the ball compared to the one hand grip and the other hand stabilizing. In order for Demi to improve, she could place a coin between the thumb and hand of her supporting hand so that she is unable to grip the ball with her non-dominant hand. Lastly, at the preparation phase, the elbow should be tucked in and the arm and wrist in a C shape. This is so that there is a smaller risk of the opponent knocking the ball out of the performer's hands. Although Demi did have good bent legs, which is used for power, it's used for power to transfer through the body to the ball. She did not have her elbows tucked in. During the execution phase, the athlete should release the ball at the apex of the shot. We can see that on the left, that is what the athletes are doing and are releasing the ball at the apex of the jump. However, we can see that Demi is releasing before she is jumping, meaning that the power from the throw is coming from her arms instead of her legs. To work on this, Demi could practice by over-exaggerating her releases at the top of her jump. Another key factor of jump shots is jumping vertically and landing in the same place. We can see this is being performed by both the technical model and Demi, just like how the ball is released in line with the body. As mentioned before, we can see that Demi is using both hands to throw the ball instead of it coming off one and being supported by the other. Lastly, during the recovery, the athlete should have flicked wrists of the throwing hand position downwards. However, we can see that Demi has both wrists flicked. This is because she uses both her hands to throw the ball. We can also see that her shoulders are high and that her arms are extended at around the 45-degree angle.